No banner big enough to reflect Caitlin Clark's legacy as star returns to Iowa. Iowa City, Iowa officially, the recognition was for everything Caitlin Clark did for Iowa basketball. The scoring records, the titles, the back-to-back appearances in the national title game. Long before her No. 22 jersey was hoisted into the rafters Sunday afternoon, though, it was obvious this was so much more. Clark transcended her sport, forever changing the way the world sees women and women's athletes, and this was her fans' chance to thank her for it. They were lined up outside several hours before tap-off. Well before the doors opened, even. Sure, it was unseasonably warm out, but this is still the Midwest, and it is still February. When fans were finally allowed inside Carver Hawkeye Arena, students rushed to grab first-come, first-served seats, while season ticket holders went to theirs at a more leisurely pace. Most wore Clark's number, or T-shirts referring to her. You break it, you own it. The word here imposed on the state of Iowa. When Clark took her seat, a few minutes before the game began, a roar went up as if she just made a game-winning three. It's been fun looking back on this whole past year and everything that's been able to happen, just the journey we went on, Clark said before the game. It's kind of a weird feeling coming back here and not being able to play, but it's just a really exciting time still for this program. I'm very fortunate to be a part of it. Women's basketball has always had a following at Iowa, and women's sports was on an upward trajectory before Clark started knocking down circus shots. But she has captured attention in a way few women athletes have, and that has made an impact on and off the court. Iowa made more from ticket sales for the women's team last year than they did the men's, and season tickets were sold out again this season. Sponsors and investors are tripping over themselves to get a piece of women's sports. The Nobody Cares crowd has crawled back into their holes, knowing they'd only be embarrassing themselves if they tried to diss and dismiss women's sports. The girls and young women who cheer Clark look at her and know they can be anything they want. Even more important, the boys and men who watch her know that too. The positive image you've brought to this basketball program, this university, this state, women's basketball nationally is unmeasurable. Former Iowa coach Lisa Bluder, who retired after last year's run, told Clark during the retirement ceremony. Former Iowa women's basketball coach Lisa Bluder and Caitlin Clark look up to the rafters during her jersey retirement ceremony at Carver Hawkeye Arena on Sunday. I've spent my entire career trying to empower young women, but you've done more of that in the last 4 years than anybody could imagine, she added. You showed why it's wise to invest in women's sports, why it's wise to invest in women. It's not only the right thing to do, Bluder said, her words almost drowned out by the roaring crowd. It's the smart thing to do. While Clark can see the larger crowds and increased interest for women's sports, it's one thing to recognize it and another to truly comprehend it. That probably won't fully happen until she's done playing. But Sunday's game gave her a glimpse of what the Caitlin Clark effect looks like from the other side. The Hawkeyes have, understandably, struggled after losing not just Clark but Kate Martin and Gabby Marshall, but they came out roaring against fourth-ranked USC. The Trojans didn't have a field goal until Juju Watkins hit a three with 26 seconds left in the first quarter, and Iowa led by as much as 19 midway through the second quarter. USC rallied, though, and it was a back-and-forth game throughout the second half until Lucy Olson got hot down the stretch in the fourth quarter. Sitting in the stands with her boyfriend, brothers, and parents, Clark waved her hands and pointed when Iowa had the ball, as if trying to direct the Hawkeyes where to go, and she leaped to her feet every time Iowa took a shot. As Iowa began pulling away, Clark was standing the whole time, leaning forward and screaming encouragement to the Hawkeyes. The noise throughout the arena was deafening, as thrilling an atmosphere as you'll find in basketball, at any level, men's or women's. When the final buzzer sounded on Iowa's 76-69 win, the student section poured onto the court to celebrate.